Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of the Maryland Living Podcast. This is Megan Burke, and I'm with John Reynolds and Pete FETTIG today.
All present.
Today, like we don't always do this together.
Not always. There's been once or twice.
There's been once when you weren't here.
Oh, yeah. That was our
Christmas
lowest.
special.
We had the lowest listenership.
Yeah, because
That
Pete
totally
wasn't here.
makes sense.
Because
Yeah.
Pete's the whole.
That's
whole
the glue.
He's the glue. He's the cohesion.
It really is.
He's the Elmer that keeps it together.
We have some fun things to talk about today, and we have something from the mailbag too, which will be
mail
fun.
shack.
Right.
But I wanted to ask you guys, and then I have my own story, which is really why I'm actually asking.
So you're asking a question to set us up to tell your own story.
She wouldn't tell us anything before, so
Isn't
I can't wait
that
to hear.
the basis of good storytelling?
I think
so.
it is. Yeah.
I'm drawing you in with my
Well,
story.
this just
so.
better, Pete, this better be good.
I'm holding my breath.
Yeah.
All right. Did anybody get you, or did you get anybody with an April Fool's joke?
When's April Fool's?
No.
No,
no one
not
got
this
me,
year.
and I got no one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's kind of boring.
Yeah. But,
I guess
just
I
another
also
day.
your kids didn't get you with anything.
I don't think so.
Maybe they got you and you don't know.
Maybe.
Was that the day you had the flat tire? Somebody got you.
Oh yeah, no. It preceded. The flat tire was before.
31st.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that leads me right into my story.
Really?
Oh,
Wow,
did someone get you?
what a natural segue that was.
So it wasn't this year. So maybe this isn't even a good story, but I think it was hilarious. It's just high pressure stakes in my house for April Fools, because when you have a 9 and 11-year-old, like, you better watch out because
Absolutely.
they expect to be tricked and they want to trick everyone around them. So
That's fun.
last year, the last day of spring break fell on April Fools. So I told my kids that actually they had a special session of school going on for people who would like to volunteer to learn more. And I had forgotten weeks ago.
I remember
this.
This was
Yes.
great.
It was gold. That was
Keep going.
I was like, I signed you up for this extra day of
So
learning.
Yeah.
What a great mom I am, right? Anyway,
It was awesome.
I not only packed their lunches, got them completely ready.
You walked them to the door.
I walked them to the door of the school.
That's fantastic.
They were really, really, really unhappy.
I remember that.
You need to bring that back out.
I think, okay, I'll
Repost
repost
it. You need to repost
Let's
it. It was
let's
so
link
good.
that video
That's what you should do.
to the show notes.
Because
Okay.
you totally.
That's awesome.
You roasted them.
I did.
It was
I got
so
them good. It was
Yeah.
so funny. But in all actuality, I had actually planned for us to go to the North Arundel Aquatic Center in Glen Burnie, and I had already prearranged with two of their friends that we were going to take their friends
You
and
had
go
to make up
spend
for it.
the afternoon there. Yeah,
Okay.
which they were very excited about. But yeah, I got them all the way to the door, and then of course my 9-year-old, I guess 8 at the time, he caught on right away that there were no cars in the parking lot.
I just remember their faces when they realized that you'd gotten them.
Yeah.
that was awesome.
I just
So-
remember the dejection that was visible as they were walking, shoulders slumped, head down.
Yeah.
It was so. That's so good. Yeah.
I mean,
I
if you
laughed
have
hard at
kids, you have to torture them.
that. Yeah,
Well played.
they'll get you back.
Oh, I'm sure they will. Well, they were ready this year. They were on guard, like, what's going to happen?
So did anything happen at your house this year?
No, nothing big. I mean, a bunch of little things, but nothing quite as,
Impactful.
Yeah, that's one for
That was huge.
That's
yeah.
one for like family legacy storytelling.
I hope that they do share it
Yeah.
for generations to
You
come.
got it on video. I mean, that's the key right there. It can
generations
live
to
on in infamy.
Yeah.
I think it was the best April Fool's prank I'd ever played on anyone.
Nice,
So,
great.
and it was on my kids,
And
and
it's
I just
on your poor defenseless children.
Yeah.
So that's great.
even better.
And there's
makes
probably,
it funnier. Yeah.
There's probably only a window of time that they'd be susceptible to let that get that far. So
And
you did it the right time.
right-
Yeah. I
You're
think
right.
perfect
they're a
window.
little older. I think they'd be like, "Come on, Ma."
Time's running out.
Yeah.
Actually,
so you have this in video though. That's the key. I love it.
yeah. My neighbor said, I can't believe that you got the kids to actually get ready and go, my kids would have been like, absolutely not. But no, they were willing. I mean, they were not willing.
Not
but-
willing.
No, that's great.
Your kids didn't play. Do you guys do April Fools when they were kids?
I remember, like, I think someone put saran wrap over the toilet.
Mm-hmm. That's a classic.
Oh, yeah.
I think, there were issues there.
I'm sure there were.
I really can't. There's a story, but I think one of my kids would have to tell it. Like they hung they hung like random things in the refrigerator.
Oh,
I think it was Maddie actually. I'll have to get with Maddie and get some clarification. But like just like the joke was that there was a random thing hanging in the refrigerator.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'd like to hear the full story.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some good ones I heard about. Actually, there was a bunch of things that got me online. A bunch of people posting things that tricked me, but nothing too
Nothing
too major. Yeah. But in other Maryland news, it was just opening day.
That's
So,
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
I've never been.
Demos won.
We did. We did. I think we lost yesterday.
Yeah, I got invited to that game, but we had other plans.
Where were you?
But you don't remember the housing summit?
With you yesterday. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any tidbits of information? Because you guys, I didn't have a
There
chance
was a
to
panel,
go, but-
doctors of economy, I guess,
Yeah.
economists. They all had different opinions, though, but they're all saying essentially.
helpful.
Well, I actually prefer that. I'd like to
Yeah.
have some,
Some debate. And
some debate.
good.
It was
Yeah.
good.
They're all smart. Obviously, they're looking at the same data, but they're drawing different conclusions. So
Okay.
I kind of enjoyed hearing the perspectives. But from what everyone's saying, 2026 is the year of the realtor. So
Yeah.
that should
Okay.
be good for us. But it's too much conjecture with what these tariffs are going to do and whether or not they're just a ploy to negotiate, which is sort of what our president does.
Yeah.
So really, it's we've got to look a year out from
Okay.
all that. To
It's
see
a
what's
wait
gonna
and see
happen.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Obviously, the stocks are tanking. That's temporary.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a reset on all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm saying that I don't have a crystal ball here, but
Yeah.
all indicators are that this is just a panic notion up front, and then as things move along, it'll change some.
I thought it was interesting that you had this one guy who was saying the only thing that needs to happen is rates need to come down and the market's going to explode. And then you had the other guy
So many other factors. though.
saying it's not about rates. Interest rates are psychological. People get used to the rate. They can get their head around the rate. What needs to happen for the market to shift foundationally is we need more inventory. And it's just too expensive, and there are too many. Basically, the bottom line was the bureaucracy at the local level
Okay.
makes it too cumbersome for these builders to develop. There was a builder up there, a Maryland home building company based out of Maryland.
Okay.
Their corporate headquarters are in Maryland, but he was talking about how much more attractive it is to do business in Virginia because their process is streamlined. It's less risky.
That was
Interesting.
Adam. I may screw his name up. It's Adam Schuften, I believe, SVP of Mid Atlantic Divisions of DRB Homes. But
Right.
he was the Maryland
Yeah.
specialist, I guess.
Another piece I thought was interesting is they were talking about making sure that you're going beyond the headlines.
Okay.
Someone was, I don't know if it was that panel, Pete, or if it was the real estate panel, but talking about how, on the national news, someone heard a story about all of these homes that are suddenly on the market and going to be vacant in Northern Virginia because of the back to work mandates and because of the, what they're doing with
Yeah.
Yeah,
The government.
quote
yeah.
unquote Doge,
Yeah,
the Doge
yeah.
stuff. And that's just not the case.
Okay.
There aren't thousands and thousands of homes for sale in
No.
Northern Virginia
Yeah.
because of that. So just
No, it'll open up inventory for people who didn't have a chance before. It's
Yeah.
all, it's just a movement of real estate.
yeah,
I mean, we've definitely seen an uptick in
Yeah.
in inventory.
absolutely, yeah.
Was it 6% week over week?
4%
okay.
week over week. We're still seeing an increase in mortgage applications for the first time.
Significant. Yeah.
Yeah, for the first time in like years.
Since
like,
22, I think they said.
yeah, well, for the first, we're seeing there are over 4,000 active listings in the region. And historically, that's not a big number,
Mhm.
but it's a big number when you look at the last few years.
Yeah.
So that's
I know our mortgage partners or our lender partners have been saying that they've been busier than ever in the last few years, and that's usually an indicator that our job is about to start getting super busy, which is great. And now with more inventory, it's just hopeful that people will have more housing options. I've seen that a little bit too with a couple of the houses that I've listed recently. It does seem like there are a lot of different options out there, and people are.
We're seeing a couple more days on market. That's
Exactly.
a clear indicator that there's a little bit more to look at.
yeah.
So-
When buyers have more options, when they have
Yep.
more choices, it's just natural that homes are going to sit on the market a bit
Mhm.
longer. And I think I'm not sure if we talked about this in the podcast or not, but Pete and I, when we're dealing with buyers and sellers and just talking about real estate, it's kind of a given fact in our estimation that the spring market starts the second week of
Oh,
January.
right. Yeah.
And that did not happen.
At least for this market, for our local market.
For our local market. That did not happen this year, but it does seem as if the spring market started exactly 2 months later, the second week of March. So
Yeah, we're all busy right now, which is
As
good.
heck,
So
which is good.
yeah, that is great. So except you had a vacation.
yeah.
I just was away for the weekend. I wouldn't call it a vacation.
How was it?
But it was great. We went to my cousin's awesome house on Wisp Mountain Road.
Okay.
It was the top of Wisp Mountain, if you couldn't guess that.
That's out by Deep Creek, right?
He's got a view of the lake, and they're like, you pull out of his neighborhood, go up the street, like, I don't know, quarter of a mile tops, and you're literally on the top of Wisp Mountain, one of the, to ski down.
Oh, nice.
It's awesome. Yeah.
That is cool.
I feel like I didn't get in enough skiing this year.
I got
but
a
have-
0.
It's beautiful out there, though. And I think
Yeah.
when people from here or from this region, when they think vacation, I think the focus is it's like a knee jerk reaction. Let's go to the beach.
Right.
But you've got all of that to the west,
And it's
it's
year-round.
beautiful.
I mean, the lake opens up when it's warmer months. You've got obviously skiing. You can hike year round. You can bike year round. There's great little restaurants and just so much to explore.
Yeah.
People think of it as, there's nothing to do there if you're not into skiing. No, there's so much to do there.
Yeah.
We went whitewater rafting out there, and I'd never been before. That's super fun.
Yeah.
That was many years ago,
Yeah.
but I don't get out there enough, but I want to start. And it seems like actually the housing market is picking up out there. I know a lot of people are buying Airbnbs out there or
Yeah.
places that
Well,
they can Airbnb.
Too many did during COVID.
Yeah.
So now that market's kind of
Softer.
softer, and that's part of what my cousin's having a little trouble with.
Oh, okay.
renting
okay.
his house, but
okay.
it's an amazing house. I mean,
Okay.
it's huge, and it's such a perfect house for to be where it is, and for everybody to have their own bedroom. It's en suite, like it's
Oh,
such a good
nice.
setup. It's
Yeah.
a really nice house.
Yeah. Nice.
Great location.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Any plans for the weekend? Anyone?
I'm trying to sell some houses and going to some baseball tournaments and going to we've got my son's going to be in Matilda, the
Nice.
play.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Through which I'm really excited about. So he has got rehearsal for that, and then I'm actually I haven't told you guys yet. Oh, by the way, I'm going to Maine.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
We're going to head up there and just check out a Sea Dogs game and just visit some family for a couple of days.
that'll be
But not
great.
this weekend, but next
That'll be great.
weekend.
Awesome.
So yeah, it should be fun. What about you guys?
We're trying to list a couple houses,
Yep.
and I'm driving with my wife and kids to the Delaware Shore to celebrate my sister's birthday.
Ah,
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds
That should
fun.
be nice. Yeah.
Well, let's get into our mailbag. Our mailbag questions.
Let's have a mailbag sound effect.
Reach into that mailbag,
Yeah.
John. Pull it out.
So we found two in there that I thought were interesting. So this one is from Sophie in Overland Park, Kansas. I found your podcast by accident. I live in Overland Park, Kansas, but my family many generations ago was from Maryland, right? It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
That is nice.
One day I was just looking for info about Maryland and stumbled upon your website. I'm now a devoted listener and feel like I now know the state of Maryland. Plus, you all make me laugh, which I
Aw.
appreciate. Sophie in Overland Park.
4 or 5 listeners. now.
Yeah, no, shout out to Sophie, and thank you so much, Sophie, for
Yeah.
For
We're
stumbling
glad-
into this,
stumbling into our mess of a podcast. Thank you
falling
so
into our
much.
mailbag.
No, I'm glad. I mean, I think we've had a lot of great topics lately, and I hope that our listeners found Rachel Osland super
that was
interesting.
so
She was tremendous, and another reason to give Rachel a shout out is because that conversation with her went for so long, it actually gave us a week off.
Yeah, I know.
And she really opened up. Like none of us
Yeah.
expected
No,
her
that
to get
was-
so deep. It was fantastic.
Yeah. I expected that we'd be talking about home inspections, but we talked about
Kind of everything.
everything.
Not everything, but everything.
Yeah.
Sort of adjacent.
Everything else. Yeah.
Lots to lead up to it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
one of our goals for the podcast is just to have people with unique Maryland stories, and she definitely
No question.
has that. She fits the bill.
She
So,
absolutely does.
Yep.
and inspiring too. I mean, it's it's just interesting to hear from people come from places of adversity and then have a successful business. And
Agreed.
It's yeah, it's great. It was great to have her
Yeah,
on.
I think
so.
everyone has a certain struggle or struggles in their
Yeah.
life, and really, how you respond and react to that struggle is
Some people
makes
just
the
bottle 'em
difference.
up, but she was willing to just let everything
Yeah.
out and share what she's learned, how she's gotten where she is.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But so again, thank you, Sophie in Overland Park, Kansas, and we're glad you're enjoying what we're doing
and
here.
people are listening outside of Maryland. That's cool. I think we always thought that just people in Maryland would be listening,
No,
but
we're
we're nationwide.
Whatever, it's pretty, but it is.
International.
It's pretty cool. It's humbling. It's
Got our
it's
first
cool.
Alaskan listener.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Are they in the
do.
mail sack?
No. The next one is from Jeff, who's not. He's just up the road a piece in Harrisburg, PA.
Okay.
So Jeff says, as real estate agents, can you share with me how true to life shows like House Hunter, Selling Sunset, and $1 Million Listing are? I'm thinking about getting into real estate as a career and want to make sure I have the proper expectations. Jeff in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Well, first of all, Jeff, thank you. That's a really, really good question. And
And don't do it.
well,
No.
I'm kidding.
don't do it based on those shows, because I mean, I
Those
think
deal happens months before.
I think I can speak for all of you that those shows really don't
no-
have a lot to do with
There's
real
no
estate
basis in
reality.
No basis.
Yeah.
No, they're fun to watch.
Sure.
I won't say what realtors call them because I can't. I don't know if I can say that on
You
a
can-
G-rated podcast.
You can
but
probably find a way to express it though.
I'm gonna think about that. But no, I remember. I love the show Selling Sunset, and I went on there,
But not because of its like real estate.
No.
no, because of the
It's the
drama.
drama.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just like trash
Drama
TV.
sucks.
it's just reality TV
Yeah.
in like a different format.
Air quotes reality TV.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, there is we have a colleague in our Keller Williams flagship
yeah.
office here who all three of us, just think
Adore.
the world of.
Yeah.
Adore. And she was featured on a recent episode of, I think it was House Hunter on HGTV.
Okay.
And of those three, I think it's probably the most realistic. But
Yeah, I
again,
think so.
it's like it's bullet point real estate. It's not. It doesn't present the full picture of what a
No.
real estate
Totally
agent does.
transactional.
Not at
Exactly.
all. You miss the late night negotiations, the research,
The cursing behind the scenes.
conversations.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's so much. It's not just showing people, and I think that's a big misconception with real estate. It's not just like opening some doors and showing people.
That's
Yeah, so
literally just the showing part.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it got me thinking, like, because I've seen Selling Sunset, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But it has nothing to do with like real life real estate. And I thought it might be interesting maybe to like,
Start our own reality show.
well, that would, yeah. Well, like maybe set the record straight
Yeah.
that being a realtor, being a real estate agent is not glamorous.
Yeah.
We drive okay cars, but we don't drive, fancy cars.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I think when you're watching those shows, the realtor is typically standing outside
Yeah.
while the buyer is like touring the house.
We call
and
that not doing your job.
yeah, right. I can tell you, like, we get in there
Yeah.
and we are
Crawl
going
spaces
into,
up in
yeah,
attics, all that stuff.
we're, getting on our hands and knees and we're
Mowing
looking.
lawns,
Yeah.
cleaning grout,
Yeah.
breaking
all that
ladders into attics.
Yep, that was you.
That was me. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we
Meanwhile, the
just,
heavy one.
Right. Getting attacked by hawks.
Yep.
our team just sold a
Vulture.
house sold a house in Laurel, and it was an estate sale, and all of us were literally there repairing door casings, moving couches, cleaning. I mean, sometimes you have to really get in there and do those things. And I really doubt that those women from Selling Sunset got out their
Took off their high
spray
heels for
cleaner.
anything.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure they didn't. And one thing that I think makes the difference, it kind of illustrates the difference between what we do and what some of these shows depict, is that, Pete, you and I spend probably more time telling people why they shouldn't buy a specific house
Absolutely.
instead of trying hard to sell them on a house.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's so true. Like,
Yeah.
I never would have thought to look at that. Just the little things that
Yeah.
if you don't know what you're looking at, you don't know what to look for. And
Yeah.
that's where someone seasoned in, selling houses and looking through them, knowing systems and all that, they're going to be able to direct you as to red flags or things to be aware of or things to budget for. Or why this
Exactly.
isn't a good contender for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, once they signed that contract with us, we're their agent by law. And we have a legal fiduciary responsibility
Yeah.
To protect their money.
protect their money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I like going into houses and pointing out the defects, not always in an effort to talk our client out of buying it, but the more defects you find in a house, the more leverage
Yeah.
Negotiate.
your buyer has to negotiate.
But that's
So,
our job. Our job is
Yeah.
to make sure that we're protecting our clients and
Yeah.
guiding them through a really important, maybe the most important purchase for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's shocking that people don't realize I'm buying a brand new house. Why would I get it inspected? And then they find all these things, that
Right.
weren't done correctly, weren't up to code, whatever the case may be. And it's like even a brand new build, you're going to have issues.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
it's
even
just-
more so.
Yeah,
So.
yes, cutting corners. Those guys are piecework. So
Yeah.
they're just in and out. Yeah.
What would you think is and again, we haven't planned this discussion, and I can always hit
I'm
the edit
scared.
button. No, what do you think is the most important value that we bring to buyers and sellers?
Oh gosh.
Covering all the bases.
Yeah.
Thinking about things that they're not thinking about because they haven't had the expertise of
Right.
seeing so many different
Correct.
scenarios.
Yeah, I would agree. I think also just the knowledge of the market,
Mhm.
and knowing where a specific house or a specific buyer fits in that market and how to make it work for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really assessing comps.
Exactly.
Determining what a market value is, a market price, what a good offer is, where
Right.
you should list all those things. If you're not really sort of schooled in that, you're looking at much broader data and really can't drill
Right.
down appropriately
Yeah.
Right.
to really have apples to apples.
I think
Correct.
another huge thing, I know a lot of people like to sell, do for sale by owner. And I think a piece that is really missing when someone does that is reviewing offers that come in. I think COVID showed us that these offers can get really complicated because a lot
yeah.
of people
Correct.
will offer to waive, do appraisal waivers and things like that. And it's
Yep.
really important to understand what all of these things mean if someone is offering, just
Something crazy over the
exactly
asking price.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like an escalation clause. If you're not very familiar with reading an escalation clause, you
realtors
could get
still don't
yourself,
know how to apply
yeah.
those.
A lot of realtors don't.
Yeah.
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 And if you're not familiar on how to read that and understand that, then you can not only be gypping yourself out of some money, but you could also have legal ramifications.
No
Absolutely.
question. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are offers that we've all reviewed that they look okay on paper, but you take one deeper look and you realize that, oh, this looks really good, but this isn't going to get to settlement.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
there's a term in real estate when a home is no longer conducive to proper living. It's called functionally obsolete.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I think that there are offers that are functionally
Oh,
obsolete that just don't
interesting,
work.
yeah.
So,
Another thing that comes up too is I don't think that a lot of sellers, if they haven't done it before, are not familiar with all the different types of loan products and how those can affect you as the seller.
Yep.
That's another huge thing that someone
Yeah.
maybe like a for sale by owner may not know the difference between a VA and a conventional loan and what that means for their property.
right. And to be able to go in and meet with a seller and not take them to school, but just help them to understand the reality of the market.
Mm-hmm.
Pete and I had an appointment last weekend that didn't happen. a gentleman contacted us.
They called the office directly, I think.
Yeah, that's right. They called the office, looked for an agent who was familiar with that neighborhood, that specific neighborhood. We ended up having a decent chat with the guy and got an appointment scheduled. But in the course of that conversation, it became clear that this gentleman had a ridiculously inflated idea of what his home was worth.
And he thought his neighborhood was part of a greater neighborhood that he was not a part of.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
really? Okay.
Right. And you know,
That can make a difference.
Big difference.
we did what we did. We did what we typically do before an appointment. We followed up. We provided some cursory market data that showed very clearly that his house was not worth what he thought it was. And we didn't state that in the information that we sent him. We just shared with him
We were going to present it in person.
the market data. We were going
Yeah.
to present it in person. And he got back to us and said, just to be clear, I don't need to sell, so my number is still XXX,
Right.
which was about 400,
At
300,000.
least 350
yeah.
over. At least.
that's going to be a
And if
problem.
the neighborhood he thought he was in, not a single house his size, which is way too small, was in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
So
It's interesting. So the day that we were to have that appointment, or the day before, I guess, he sent us an email saying that he wanted to cancel the appointment because he decided to sell the home to his son,
Oh.
who's clearly
for-
a millionaire.
who's clearly willing to pay dad $350,000 more than his house is worth. So we didn't have an opportunity to kind of share that information face to face, but I like those challenges.
Yeah. I know you always love it when there's like I know.
A big
A
obstacle
hurdle, a
ahead.
problem. You love a good
Well,
problem.
to me, that's kind of like how you learn stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I know so many times I've come to you and been like, okay, this one's killing me. I don't know what to do with this one. And you're just like, I love this. I'm like, what's wrong with you? It is good to I don't know, you do learn. It's how you learn. But this is a business where you never stop learning. There's always.
Every single deal's different.
And that's why it's important to not necessarily find an agent that knows every single thing, but an agent who's willing to figure it out.
That's the key.
Yeah.
right
Seasoned
there.
is a good word.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Know how
yeah.
to navigate every situation.
Who knows how to get the answers and isn't going to stop until they get them.
Who knows how to get the answers and is communicative? Because that's probably the biggest complaint we hear about realtors is that they're not really good at returning
It
calls.
just
and
blows
follow-
my mind.
It blows my mind.
We
too.
Just
always-
answer your phone. It's
That's
that
all you have to
simple.
do.
Yeah.
Answer your phone.
We always
That's
say
it.
house on fire.
Yeah.
And that is a house on
Hot
fire
potato,
to
house on
me.
fire.
Right.
You call, oh, I have to stop everything. That's just me, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe I'm a little bit too much in that area, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I'll say this is one thing that I think a lot of agents fail at: setting expectations.
Yes.
If you've covered what expectation to have each step of the way, there's simply no surprises.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no surprises. So it's like, remember when we talked about this? Well, we're there.
Yeah.
And here's what we do. So it's all about, you just have to manage expectations.
yeah. Yeah. Well, in our attempt to not make this a real estate podcast, I would
That's all
say
we talked about.
no, this has been good. And I hope that people, I think it's good to, provide some education piece around real estate and Maryland.
Yeah.
too.
So, just to wrap that up, to get back to Jeff in Harrisburg,
From
the answer
Blueberry.
is those shows are not realistic, Jeff. House Hunter on HGTV is probably the most realistic of the three you mentioned, but it is still just kind of, like I said, just kind of bullet points of what an agent does. I would consider real estate as a career. I think it's.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's the best job ever.
No, it's great. I love
I
it.
think it's a great job.
Average at best.
No, I love
Oh my
it.
gosh.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Depends on the week.
Yeah.
Well, it's
The day.
it's never the same,
It's not.
Yeah.
and I can't imagine reporting to an office
Yeah.
9 to 5,
Stuck at a desk.
stuck at a
Zero
desk.
chance I could ever do it.
Yeah,
I think things are challenging right now too, just because we're in some challenging times, and
Oh, absolutely.
the days of just being able to write an offer and have it be accepted are over for right
Right.
now.
Yeah.
I mean, every single house seems to have some challenges, and that's why it matters what agent that you're working with.
You're right,
So-
Megan. And we've joked about, well, quote unquote, joked about it, but like nothing is easy right now.
No, it's really not.
Everything is a little bit challenging. Plus, there are so many things going on with the federal government now, and for better or for worse, our biggest industry in this area is the federal government. So it's a great time to learn and hone our skills.
It's funny, we always say, and I know you've said it in Ignite, and I mean, I've said it many times too, that this area is recession proof.
Until it's not.
And then, I mean, this is something that we didn't see coming, and how it's going to affect our housing market and just our local market, I think is going to be.
And it's different to be working with someone who's excited to sell versus someone who's kind of forced to sell.
Correct.
Big time.
That's a big, it's an emotional roller coaster.
Big time, yeah.
So it's the next few months are going to be interesting to watch. It's going to be exciting in probably good and bad ways.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll just buckle up and we'll be learning a lot. When the dust settles, we will all have much more knowledge than we have right now.
Yeah.
Which I think
it's time for a shift to a certain degree.
Yeah,
it's been like this.
agree.
It's happening.
Yeah. I think I think could be good. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll take it as it comes.
Very good. Well, okay. So Sophie and Jeff, thank you for the mailbag questions.
Anyone else feel free to get
That's our mailbag sound effect.
Gosh.
That's all I've got, my friends.
Yeah, I think that's it. Well, thank you for everyone who listened to our podcast today. And everybody can find us on Instagram at Maryland Living Podcast.
Absolutely.
You can email us at marylandlivingpodcast@gmail.com. And then also there is...
you can text us directly through the show notes.
Yeah.
We also have our new Maryland Living Podcast Facebook page.
Yes, which is getting some
So please
attention.
share, subscribe.
Hit us in the mailbag.
Hit us in the
I
mailbag.
know one thing I wanted to say. If you had a really good story, that was not good. No, that's just going to stop.
He wants to be hit in the mailbag.
You've thrown off my train of thought now.
Could be that fog. We do want to say a special thanks to our new Alaska listener, Scully McDuff.
What?
Is that an Alaskan name?
He jumped in our mailbag.
We have one Alaska
wrong
listener,
with you?
and
I think
you're
he's-
going to insult
He's catching
them.
us through radio, so it's a delay.
Snowy McDuff.
Snowy.
Snowy McDuff.
Okay, Pete's not allowed to go to Alaska, and
It's a little too cold for me.
So you were on a train of
I
thought.
was. So I was going to say, if anyone has any really good,
April Fool's
Thank
stories.
you.
I can
Yes.
figure this
I
one.
Let us know. Yeah.
It's kind of how it all started.
I'll have to get with I'll see my kids this weekend. I'll have to ask them.
I don't have
about
the
those.
details, but my sister-in-law, I think, had a banger of an April Fool's joke. So
Bet-
I need
better
to
than
refresh
mine.
it.
All right, so maybe we'll
I
have
don't know.
to,
Yours on video. That's a crusher.
Yeah.
yours is fantastic.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough to top, no matter what.
All right, so our call to action between now and the next
gosh.
podcast is to get some clarity on those April Fool's stories.
Our listeners want to hear. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, we're out.
Peace.
We're out.
Do you wanna catch a ride downtown? If you said no, it'd be a pity, yeah.